I think that's a very interesting point, that Paul doesn't say a lot in his letters about the ministry and life and teaching of Jesus. And one conclusion might be that he really didn't know much, or that he didn't care much about these things. However, I think that's quite a wrong reading. Paul's letters were quite specifically troubleshooting letters. They were written largely to people he knew and had worked with before, to established Christian churches, and Paul in his letters is dealing with the problems that had arisen in those churches, and he's trying to help the Christians as they wrestle with particular problems. So in his letters, he's not laying the basic foundations of Christian faith, he's dealing with problems that have come up later. But interestingly, when he deals with problems, from time to time, he does say, "When I was with you, I passed on these traditions of Jesus." He reminds them, for example, of how Jesus at the Last Supper broke the bread and gave the wine to his disciples. He reminds his readers in Corinth about how Jesus rose from the dead and was seen by various witnesses. And Paul says, "I passed on to you what I also received." In other words, he speaks of passing on Christian traditions. So I think when he founded churches, of course, he taught them lots about Jesus. And they would have wanted to know. Otherwise, why would they have believed? He passed on lots of the stories and sayings of Jesus. But in his letters, he's not doing that. He's doing the later troubleshooting. But we can see in his letters, again and again, he's echoing those stories of Jesus, occasionally referring back directly to Jesus' teaching. For example, on the subject of marriage and divorce, he refers back to that on one occasion. He refers back to it directly on some occasions, but very often in his letters we can almost hear him echoing the teaching of Jesus and stories about Jesus, and he expects his readers to know about it because he's taught them already.